So today we're going to be changing this guy on 2013 Ford Focus. How to know that you need to change it. Maybe your radio is just straight up not working. That's always a fun feature. Really what brought me to the point where I'm set enough and went on Amazon and ordered a new center unit for it was when the radio would cut out, or intermittently you would hear loud ruptures, static, and just brutal noises. I'm driving my wife, and it would just start throwing out these noises that were painful, because it would do it at like almost max volume. And even I found when the engine was off, and there would just be like a little bit, before you open the door of your Ford, when you turned it off, the radio still goes. Even after I opened the door, I would still hear the radio going. So also what I ended up doing, end up draining my battery. So in the mornings, I would come through and it would be a dead battery. And then I would need to jump it. Sometimes I would not have any dash light when I would jump it. If that ever happens to you, you have a dead battery, you jump the car, your Ford, your third gen Ford, and your dashboard doesn't come on, this doesn't come on, you're not getting electricity anywhere on the internals, just disconnect the battery. Like I take off the positive terminal for at least 10 seconds, put it back on. The negative is buried way too deep. So anyway, today we're gonna take this guy out. I'm gonna disconnect the battery for that, being that it's juiced and it's live right now. I don't want any electricity going. Once we take this guy out, there should be some plug and play wires. First place we want to start, if you go to the bottom of your radio, here's your hazard sign. You're gonna have this little bit to pull out. So if you can't pull it out by hand, which I cannot, just get some pliers. You don't need a lot of force. You just want to grab this middle vent and give it a tug. And that's what he looks like. He just presses in there. Once we have this guy out of the way, he opens up access to these two bolts, which we got to remove next. Yes, T25 torques a bit. We can get out those two bolts. There's one guy. And then goes the second guy. And then if you can see, the whole unit starts to pop out. I'm just going to get a little bit of a pry, no need to even get a pry tool, just gently. I came in around the sides and I just started to pull it out at myself, and the unit just pops out like that. Here we go, just popping this boy out. Alright, right now I can feel that he's hanging on. There's just one wire in the back. This is what we're looking at. This is the only guy holding us in. To be honest, holding the camera well, there it is. You just squeeze on the sides like this, and as you saw, it pops right out. For installation, we went with this guy, the Eagle Nav car radio. I'll be honest, none of them had a shining repute online, but this guy looked like it matched the style of my Ford Focus the best and the closest. And it also has some nice upgrades, like it has a reverse camera that I'm going to run. I'm going to have that running. It has also better connectivity for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so that'll be great. Really well depicted, love that. Could be a manual, could be an automatic. Nah, it's just a Ford. Look at all these goodies, wiring charts and wires galore. Also, we're going to need to take out the vents. As we see, the new one just comes with holes. And here we're going to want to squeeze these guys out. We're going to reuse them. This is what the new one looks like from the face. So when we have it installed, it'll be like this. We also need to get the dials out. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of this guy. We're going to take these away, which if I wiggle them, I feel that they are coming up pretty easily. Okay, let's see. Yes, so right here is what we are releasing. We got those going. Alright, and there it goes. Comes out, and with it also comes the dial, because you don't have the dials in the new one. This guy's going to commute over to our new unit. And I'm noticing that this guy's starting to get a little bit in my way, that bottom piece that we were talking about earlier. Now I can feel it's just clipped in there, and not very snugly. There we go. Alright, we managed to do that without breaking anything. Alright, now if we're looking at our new head unit, like we mentioned, we have this bottom part. We pried this off, but this guy's still in the way when you put in your vents, because this bottom vent is poking right into it. So either we could take off the bottom vent is very easy to take off, but then that means the hot air would just be blowing into here. Instead, And I looked on the back of it. I saw 4 little black screws, and I emphasize black because you will also see these 2 silver ones, which we don't want to touch. The 4 silver black screws, which are tiny, will be here, 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 here. You take those out. This guy comes right out. I'm going to keep them together. Right now, what I'm trying to do also is see if there's any way that I can take off the bottom piece on my old existing unit. It's more of a vanity piece, so there isn't anything structurally integrated about it. And I mean, this does look clean and good, but again, that kind of defeats the purpose because we want something like this. This is where those 2 bolts were that we started with, and here you have the vents which should come out. I started playing with this. You can see it's already kind of off. There are these 2 stubborn nubs here. We're going to work them a bit. I'm not sure there's a polite way to unclip them. And then afterwards I'm going to see if there's some way to add this guy to this. Although worst case, honestly I know it doesn't look the best, but I'm okay having it just open. And again, just allowing the air to circulate out. Who's going to really look underneath the car and be like, oh, what is this? I'm going to line up all the teeth as much as possible, press it in. This little dial also, it has a slot for it. So I want to make sure that lands. Just going to squeeze from the other side. Great. And again, this is why we deleted the bottom piece. We're going to still see what we can do about that. I have some ideas. They're not going to be the prettiest, but off the top of my head, I'm thinking some JB Weld. Actually, you're going to crazy glue. Mixing is a pain. But this guy, they don't sponsor me anyway. With a little cap and just how strong it is, I've been really enjoying that. Cool. Let's do the other side. Okay. Beautiful. Got all those pops. Here in, you guys see it. Cool. Alright, so that's how it looks. We got a few more things to take out in the car, but this is what we're going to be putting in. So from what I understand, this is the actual radio unit. This is the guy that's causing all the problems with that static noise that comes in to take him out. We got a few more T25s. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think that's where the litter of wires is going to be, where we can start implementing some of the cool upgrades that this thing has. I'm not 100% sold on its look, and that I kind of had to concede with because none of them look great. All the different options that you have for the Fords looked a little whack, if you know what I mean. Due to color or style or just personal preference, whatever it may be. But, ooh, okay, we got 2 more. I lied. So 2 more T24s right here. Alright. Well, once those 6 bolts are out, this guy just with a gentle tug comes right out. Alright, and I think this is a good time to change the camera angle. This is the unit that we just pried out. We have 1 wire that goes into the top unit where the display was. And then also on the bottom, we have a few wires. Great. And then also on the bottom, we have a few wires. And we're going to go unplugging until we have all of them unplugged. And then we're going to have some wire soup, which we can rewire back up. Alright, so first of all, we're just going to work on freeing this up off here. Got our electrical connectors. Okay, this one had this clip on the top of it. The guy next to him, same story. You have a clip on the top. We push that down, and we can just kind of wrestle it out. And down, this electrical work intimidates the heck out of me. Ah, okay, so you had the clip. You press that clip in. This arm comes down. This guy comes out. Unscathed, above all. Alright. Now this guy we were battling off, but we also have this friend sticking in here. Alright, these guys are not related, so we'll just pop that guy out, and then we can focus our attention on this guy. To take out this little bugger, you have this little bit sticking out. Press that in as you pull out. I just had him a second ago, just like that. So press in, pull out. That's it. There's all of the old. The old is out. We are left with all these goodies. Could definitely use a dusting. And now we can start to wire up our new one. If you're as excited as I am, you did get a guide. So just in case, that's the video that I referenced. That gentleman did a great job. But I just want to go a little bit deeper on it to get more of the functions that this kit specifically has. So to get our reverse camera from the unit, we want to have the wire all snaked away all the way to the back. I'm going with the option of going through the passenger side footwell. On the passenger side, where you have the footwell, right where the center console is, you have this piece of just shroud, and it's held in by clips. So you can just gently pry that out, and then you're going to see a little light shining through, and I recommend just taking the aux side of it and feeding it from the bottom. Literally, you could go hand to hand, and boom, there it is. And that's it. On the other side of that, we have all this wire. They do give you a good abundance. So this, I imagine I'm going to snake away and run through the back and the center console. I'm going to do some measuring. But again, we have distance already connected up on this side, so we'll worry about this once we get this plugged in, because backup camera is not essential for me. But in case I do end up selling this thing, which I really do want to, I have no love left for my Ford, I want to have all the features. So the reverse camera has its own little adapter. These are the antennas for it. These are the power cords. I'm going to get my wire strippers out later and connect this. This is going to be the power for it. This will connect into the back of this unit, and there's certain things that are in the back of the face, like the GPS, already wires in there. I'm not sure I'm going to need the GPS. My phone's going to have GPS, but whatever, you know what? If it has it, we're going to utilize it. I want it to work as much as possible. We have an adhesive here, so we're going to see where we have the most amount of space. And I'm not a big fan of this thing that looks like a dial. It is just a space saver. We could have probably gone without that, but whatever. I do like the nice big wide tablet look on it. We will have to see what these three buggers are for, because they connect. You'll have this little square thing that we're popping out. That's going to be your antenna. So you pop that in, and then you have this adapter, and this guy goes right to the antenna connection right there, so nothing ambivalent about that. Okay, so this guy, you just pry off with the pry tool they give you. There we go. We have our little USB snaked out. Line it up, all the clips, and yeah, you can be gentler. This is how I feel about my Ford. Beautiful, flush. And we have a cheeky little USB cable. I'm going to just draw it closer to the seat, so in case it is wet, then I don't get it wet. This is the cable coming out for him. Again, we're just trying to get everything lined up. We're looking better. Mic. And this is the cable for the USB. This is our antenna. We got to figure out what we're doing with everything else and where this guy's going. The mic is currently wired into this adapter mess, which some of this is going to be for audio, some of this is going to be for like a sound system, which I don't have. Subwoofers definitely don't have. If the car already had a backup cam, which we don't have, we're going to be putting in the aftermarket one that comes with this car. So yeah, we're going to have this guy running just for the mic, it seems. Which, whatever, we can take calls. Why not? And these will all be available on the backside. So then if a future owner wants to put in a sound system, they still have that accessibility for it. God, I hate wires. All right, so if we're just looking at where some of our wire soup is going, when you have this red unit, this is going to be just having a lot of the adapters for your original plugins that you had, which were here. So you'll find the size matches up quite nicely. This red guy that came out of the first part is going to go right into here. This guy, I have no idea. This is our GPS module. We have an adhesive on it. I'm going to glue it in after I turn on the car and I check everything. Our antenna plugs into there. If we take a look at this area, we have again, off of this red unit, you have something that goes in for your power supply, so that's where your power goes. This is going to be that wire soup, which right now I only have the mic being utilized on it, so we're going to keep it in here. This is the reverse camera. Also in here, I'm going to have the 2 USBs go in. This is one of the USBs. It's a 6-prong, and this is another one. This is a 4-prong that I'm going to leave for the passenger side. Those are going to take up these 2 spots. And I'm going to see what the 8-prong guy could be. A little bit of this is guessing. And, oh, lastly, antenna. Not lastly, but ironically, that's the one thing I really use on this car for entertainment or distraction, however we want to label that, the most. So definitely want to make sure I have that guy live. He just got a little bit snagged up. There he is. Yoinks. Just feel him snuggle up, and you can see him right here. All right, so this is where we're at right now. We're going to keep connecting. Afterwards, connect the battery, and we're going to test out how the unit's behaving, see if we need any corrections. And also right now it's like upside down. It should be not like this, but like that, because you see this is the bottom. Yeah, also helpful, just put your car in reverse if you have a manual, because any space here is great. If you have an automatic, I guess just try to put it in a different gear. Try not to have it park. Yes, wire mess. All right, so I decided to get my mic and the USB a little better. I can't find a good place for the USB. It looks awkward no matter where I put it. I pried this piece off on the side. It had this sort of grommet clip that I feel like mutilated. It's coming out of that hole right there. Definitely not convenient. Unfortunately, this guy does not have enough length that I could run him somewhere where I like. So this is what we have. Furthermore, I ran the microphone because all of this was for this guy, for this mic. There goes my mutilated clip. With him, what I did was when I had this off, I ran it around the underside of the steering column. Then it came out. You can easily pry this guy out. He's a little tricky when you're putting him back in, but pry him out, and I let it up over the A-pillar. I'm going to decide finally where it rests. I'm leaning more running it up here and having him probably up here by where my visor is. Just having him somewhere where he's out of mind. But that I don't have to call quite yet. This guy may still want to work on. But yes, that's an option for how to bring the wires about. Like that, I have the USBs there, although I have this guy. This will give me just a little bit more space. I don't want to have them too low. That just feels weird. Although, what's the harm in it? I think we're going to do that. We're going to run him because this just, I don't like how that looks. I wired up everything the best I could. I even got the speaker looking situation figured out. That reverse camera we're going to solder in. Right now, I just want to get to the point that if I know if I did this right, because I have a healthy amount of doubt in myself. Truth. In. Electrical on. And life. All right. I don't know if you can see that, but the Android symbol did come on. All right, so the preliminary test went good. Lastly, just gonna make sure that the dash camera is connected. So hooked up the back end of it here. And now all that's left is the wire that we snaked out that goes to the dash camera. It connects to this guy right here. We are going to run it like we would any other dash camera. So I'm going to go snake this wire on the bottom side and then either go up the gasket here and trail out to the back. Do all the prying you need with both hands, so unfortunately I'm just going to show you the after result. The wire goes up through the wheel well underneath the glove box, then it snakes out over here, goes underneath this black piece, goes through the little foot part, continues on. It goes over into here. Here we're gonna go for the back seat. Wire continues here, here. Up the gasket a little bit. Goes here. Up the gasket. Here we already have our trunk beginning. It goes behind this piece. Comes out through this well piece. This is actually right here, one of the few places you can see it. There's a hole that goes right through the trunk. And then if we go over to the trunk, I feel like this makes it a lot bigger than it is. Here's our boy. Wire came out right through here. And you can see a little bit of daylight. That's where the hole was. Then this soft sort of piece that covers the trunk, I just shoved the wire behind there, where it just kind of goes around the whole outside of the trunk. The socket continues. We got the light off, the light that goes in there, the wire itself. For the camera, I ran up here, taped it in a few places. So we're getting ready to make our exit. To take off that light, you just have one of these little nuts. If you look at the other side, all right, so it's been about a week, maybe a little bit more. I had enough time for a haircut. I want to give you the report on how the head unit has been working. So it's installed well. All the wiring did turn out as expected. The microphone works well. The backup camera works great. I have radio on. It comes on without an issue. Connects to the audio system flawlessly. I also connected to Bluetooth through my phone, which allows me to play the music off my phone in case I'm playing like Spotify or the music that I have on here. The maps does not come off of my phone, although it uses the data off my phone to initiate maps. I can be doing routing on it because it is a big screen, so that makes it very convenient for routing. One thing I noticed when I was doing the connection, make sure on your phone you go into the Bluetooth settings and you allow for the Bluetooth tethering, and that's going to allow it to get some more functionality out of what you have on your phone. Things I don't particularly like about it: I don't like that this is just a empty button for aesthetic's sake. I think we could have definitely done more with that. Over here on the bottom, I talked about this earlier, the bottom trim piece off the old one, it did not have the mounting holes for me to fixate it back in, and furthermore, it did not have any holes for the vents to come out. So what I like to do is just, when I installed it, I plugged it in and I have this exposed. So you can see I can get quite far up there. You can't see this unless you really go looking under, but again, I just feel, considering this was made for this generation of Ford Focus, we could have done a little bit better with the bottom piece so it just fits in, allowing the vents to ventilate out properly. I watched one video. They have that little QR code on the instructions. It takes you to a video where it was installed, and that gentleman at the time, he did kind of just more of a quick approach. He just deleted these vents on the bottom. I didn't like that approach because in theory, if you're, let's say, blasting heat, then all the heat is circulating on the inside of it, and I don't know what the temperature rating for the connectors are, or just over time heat again does degrade things. So that's another thing. I have it pulled open. When installing the backup camera, once you position it, you also see you have a positive and a negative. I connected mine, but I was testing the backup camera prior to when I had the positive and negative connected. I just had the aux cable connected internally here, and it worked perfectly well. When I would go to reverse, it would turn on my backup camera. Beautiful, nice big view, takes up the whole screen. Parameters are a little bit off, but that's fine. I'm really more of a backup guy where I look out the back. I'm old school. This is just a really nice touch if I'm trying to get really close with it. One downside is when you turn on the reverse and it gives you this screen, it turns off your radio, which has been a little bit of an annoyance. Not enough for me to really do anything about it besides just park quicker. So overall, decent unit. I wish they just put in a little bit more effort. The bottom vent on it is just bland, nothing button. All the other buttons work. The hazards come on, the doors lock, unlock. Everything else, if I turn on the heat, I feel it blasting out appropriately. Like Google Maps exciting for some reason. So if you don't have it connected to your phone, and make sure you use some cockamamie time. Once you connect it to the phone, it's taking the data off of there. It'll give you the proper time. Overall, nice item. Hopefully you found this installation video helpful. If you do have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm going to answer them as best I can.